This is my workshop right now, the beginner's woodshop. And this just has a few of the tools that I've started off with in the last few months after moving into my own home and now getting an actual space in which to get some work done. So over here on my right, we have the temporary workbench, which is a wood table that I found on the side of the road and it's been working really well. Just a kind of a work surface and just assembly table along with just whatever I need to put stuff on. You can see I've got my miter saw on there, and I've got plenty of just lots of stuff on here. I've got my pegboard up there with a bunch of my tools on some pegboard holders. We've got chisels and pliers and a lot of my finishing stuff on that shelf. I've got my sanders over there on that little shelf, and I've got a bunch of clamps just kind of hanging out. Underneath we have my compressor, and to the right is my shop vac. It's the Vac Master. Got it on Amazon. I really do like it. It converts to a blower as well. And coming around here, I have some hardboard leaning up. On this little stand that I built, we have my Delta scroll saw and a kind of a cheap bench grinder, a couple of pipe clamps sitting to the right of that. And then coming right around, this is where I've just kind of been leaning the wood pieces that I have and just the scrap that I've picked up by dumpster diving. And the crown jewel so far of my workshop is my table saw. This is a Craftsman 1970s model. We have a bunch of stuff piled on top right now. Some wood scraps that I took out of a bucket to work on something else. A couple of clamps, mallet there. We have down here, a little side project I was working on, something to test out dados and how to make them on a table saw. And this worked out pretty well. There's a couple of, I was just trying to paint it just to make it something that I could bring in the house. It's all just, I believe, 1/2-inch ply that I've got going on there. Here we have a Black & Decker workmate. This thing is amazing. I really like it. I got it at a garage sale for 10 bucks. It's acting as a temporary vise for me, so if I ever need to plane something down, I put it in there. Just gonna kind of swing around here real quick just so you can see the front of the table saw. As you can see, it is a Craftsman, Sears Craftsman, 10-inch table saw. Haven't done any real modifications to this saw yet. I do plan on eventually changing out the fence or building a new fence for it. And I might end up putting in a router table on the side. I'm not sure I like the way the stand is. This is what I got this saw from Craigslist for about $125. The guy was asking for $150, and I talked him down to $125. It came with the stand, and it came with the miter gauge, wherever that went. Probably just not seeing it. It's probably right in front of me. I am not sure where it went. Anyway, it did have a blade guard and a splitter in the back, which I removed so that I could use my crosscut sled, which I don't have a good place to sit this right now because everything's a mess, but there's my crosscut sled. I just made this out of a bunch of scrap and works pretty well. I have some plywood runners in the bottom, and I've greased the bottom and the runners with some Johnson's paste wax. Helps it run smoother on the saw. I think that about concludes this little introduction of the beginner's woodshop, and I'll be seeing you guys later.